I thought our honeymoon was the start of forever, but what I uncovered broke me. My husband had been secretly recording our most intimate moments and selling them to his friends. This is the story of how I was betrayed by the one person I trusted the most. Sophia Clark had always dreamed of a honeymoon like this, a luxurious getaway to the Maldives, where the crystal-clear waters met pristine beaches, and everything was designed to create lasting memories. Her wedding to Mark had been a fairy tale, the culmination of years of love and anticipation. At 28, Sophia was a successful interior designer, and Mark, a 30-year-old marketing executive, seemed to be the perfect match. Their chemistry was undeniable, and everyone around them envied their picture-perfect relationship. When they arrived in the Maldives, it felt like everything was falling into place. The first few days were blissful private dinners under the stars, sunrise walks on the beach, and endless photos of their newlywed happiness. Sophia felt like the luckiest woman alive, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, she could only imagine how perfect their life would be together. However, little did she know, Mark had a secret that would soon destroy everything they'd built together. Everything seemed too perfect, almost as if something was lurking just beneath the surface. Mark was becoming more and more protective of his phone, spending longer hours on it, sneaking away from the beach to take calls, and even locking his phone screen whenever Sophia was near. She brushed it off at first, thinking it was simply the excitement of their honeymoon and the constant buzz of work, but it wasn't long before she would uncover the truth. It wasn't until the third day of their trip that Sophia began to notice a pattern. Mark had always been the charming, outgoing type, the one who was always at ease in social settings, and who shared everything with her. But now, there was a change in him, a shift that sent uneasy ripples through their otherwise joyful honeymoon. He had begun to retreat into himself, and the constant need to check his phone only made things worse. He was never the type to hide things from her, but this newfound secrecy was unnerving. One night, after a romantic dinner on the beach, Mark excused himself to take a call. Sophia, feeling a sudden sense of discomfort, decided to take a closer look at his phone when he left the room. He had always been open with her about his passwords, but for some reason he had changed them during the trip. Sophia found herself unlocking his phone with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. What she saw next was the beginning of a nightmare. Inside the phone's gallery, Sophia found a folder labeled private at first. She hesitated, but then her gut told her she needed to know what was inside. As she tapped the folder open, her heart sank. There, displayed before her, were dozens of videos, private moments from their honeymoon, moments she thought were meant only for them. Sophia's hands trembled as she scrolled through the videos. There were clips of them walking hand in hand along the beach, laughing under the sun, even some intimate moments that had been recorded while they were alone in their room. It didn't take long for the horrifying realization to set in. Mark had been recording their honeymoon, but it wasn't for their personal collection. No, it was something much darker. As Sophia's mind raced, she couldn't comprehend what she was seeing. These videos weren't just for sentimental purposes. There was something inherently wrong about the way Mark had filmed these moments. Some videos were shot without her knowledge, while others were clearly taken from angles that captured far more than just the scenic views of their honeymoon. Each video seemed to breach an unspoken boundary, one that Sophia never imagined her husband would cross. With a shaky breath, Sophia tried to digest the gravity of what she had just uncovered. Why would Mark film these moments without her consent? And more importantly, why would he keep them hidden? The questions piled up in her mind, but the truth was clear: these videos weren't just for their eyes. They were shared with others. As her thoughts spiraled, she found the message she had been dreading, a string of messages from Mark's friends, some of whom had complimented the amazing footage from the honeymoon. Sophia felt a wave of nausea wash over her. Mark hadn't just recorded their private moments for fun, he had shared them with his friends. She couldn't wrap her head around it. Was this some sort of sick joke? Why hadn't Mark told her? Her mind raced, replaying every moment from their honeymoon, trying to piece together where things had gone wrong. She tried to calm herself, but deep down, she knew this was no ordinary mistake. This was betrayal. The confrontation was inevitable. When Mark returned to the room that evening, Sophia didn't hold back. "Mark," she started, her voice barely above a whisper, "I need to know why you've been filming our most intimate moments. Why did you share them with your friends?" Mark froze. For a long moment, there was silence, a weighty tension that filled the room. Then, Mark's face shifted from confusion to panic, and finally, a resigned acceptance. At first, Mark denied everything, claiming that Sophia was imagining things. "It's just for fun," he said. "We're just having a good time, no harm done," but Sophia wasn't having it. She pressed harder, demanding the truth. Finally, Mark confessed he had recorded their honeymoon moments for personal reasons, but had shared them with his friends for some extra attention. "It's no big deal," he insisted. They thought it was funny. It was harmless. Sophia was in shock. His casual dismissal of her feelings made her blood run cold. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. His justification didn't make sense. To him, it was all just a game, but for Sophia, it was a violation of the most private parts of her life. How could he think it was harmless to share their personal moments with people who weren't even part of their relationship? The betrayal stung deeper than anything she had ever experienced. Mark's attempt to explain his actions only made things worse. He downplayed the situation, trying to convince Sophia that she was overreacting. "It's just a few videos," he said nonchalantly. "Everyone was talking about it. It was harmless fun." He even tried to blame the situation on his friends, claiming they pushed him to share the footage. But no matter how he explained it, the truth was clear to Sophia: Mark didn't respect her boundaries, her privacy, or their relationship. Sophia tried to hold back tears, but the hurt was undeniable. Mark's apology felt empty, as though he didn't truly understand the depth of his betrayal. It wasn't just the videos, it was the fact that he had taken something so intimate, so personal, and made it a joke for his friends. This was supposed to be their honeymoon, a time to bond, not something to be exploited for laughs. Sophia realized that Mark's actions weren't just a mistake. They were a reflection of how little he valued her trust. There was no remorse, no real acknowledgement of the pain he had caused. It felt like he had seen her as nothing more than an object for his amusement, and that realization was enough to shatter her world. The next few days were a blur for Sophia. She tried to keep up appearances for the sake of the honeymoon, but everything had changed. She couldn't look at Mark the same way anymore. The man she had married, the man she thought she knew, was someone she no longer recognized. Every glance at him reminded her of the betrayal, of the privacy that had been taken from her without a second thought. Sophia's heart ached. But what hurt the most was the complete lack of empathy from Mark. He hadn't once apologized in a meaningful way. Instead, he brushed it off as something trivial, something that would be forgotten in time. But for Sophia, the wounds ran deep, and the damage was irreparable. Her mind raced with thoughts of what to do next. Could she forgive him? Should she stay with him? The once perfect future they had planned together now seemed like a distant memory. Sophia confided in her best friend, Tara, about the betrayal. Tara's reaction was immediate and furious. She couldn't believe what Mark had done, and she insisted that Sophia should confront his friends about what had happened. Tara even suggested they contact the people who had received the videos, but Sophia hesitated. She didn't want to make things public, but the thought of Mark's friends laughing at her pain was too much to bear. Meanwhile, Mark's behavior became more erratic. He started apologizing profusely, promising to make it right, but Sophia couldn't believe his words. She felt like she was being manipulated into forgiving him, as though he expected everything to go back to normal without truly addressing the betrayal. The emotional toll of the situation began to take a serious toll on Sophia. and she realized she needed to make a decision. Could she continue living with someone who had violated her trust in such a profound way? After weeks of emotional turmoil, Sophia came to a heartbreaking decision. She couldn't move past what Mark had done. The betrayal, the dishonesty, and the lack of respect for her boundaries were all too much. The man she had married no longer existed in her eyes, and the pain of his actions left her feeling hollow. She made the difficult choice to separate from him, ending their honeymoon prematurely and cutting their relationship short. It wasn't a decision she had taken lightly, but she knew she couldn't stay with someone who had broken her trust in such a public, humiliating way. Sophia filed for divorce, finding strength in the decision that had taken so long to make. The road to healing wasn't easy, but she knew it was the only way forward. The woman who had once believed in forever was now determined to rebuild her life on her terms. With the support of Tara and her other friends, she began the process of moving on, knowing that she deserved better than the betrayal she had endured. As she left the remnants of her marriage behind, Sophia felt a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't going to let this break her. Instead, she vowed to take control of her future, finding happiness and healing on her own. Thank you all for watching. If you've ever faced a betrayal or struggled with trust in a relationship, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional stories. Your support means everything, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.